How's it going, everybody? Batting sixth here, back again with another video. Here to update you guys on the latest when it comes to the Toronto Blue Jays in MLB free agency. So if you are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. I'd love to have you guys here. Trying to get to 400 subscribers, trying to get to 500, trying to get to 1,000. We'll go step by step here, but I don't like to waste any more time. Let's talk about the newest news and the newest rumors about the Blue Jays, because I actually have a theory kind of in this video. Okay, we're going to break down the teams and why I believe the Blue Jays are still in the hunt for Kyle Tucker and why it makes sense. But to start off, I do want to bring up quickly, Eloy Jimenez did sign a minor league deal with the Blue Jays. Again, this is probably just a guy that the Blue Jays are hoping swings a hot bat in the minors and potentially could be a guy that comes up during the season if he starts to find his pop again. He's injury prone. He's kind of lost it over the last little while, so I'm wishing the best for him anyways. Obviously, it would be really good if the Blue Jays could get him. But the other big news, of course, the bigger news, Eloy Jimenez is not really big news. This is Alex Bregman in the Cubs. So this did happen a few days ago, but the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because it seems like the reports that have come out lately are pointing the fingers at different teams and going, they're in for a big bat. These guys are in for a big bat. They're in on Tucker. They're in on Bregman. They're in on Bellinger. Yada, yada, yada. Bichette this, Bichette that. There's a lot of teams being brought up, and Ken Rosenthal has brought it up. But I want to talk about why I believe some of these teams could slowly be in and out of that market. And in a roundabout way, we're going to look at a bunch of different things and it will all come together. So follow with me, stay with me. I promise you guys, you will understand what I'm trying to say. But with Bregman off the market going to the Cubs, the Red Sox are probably going to be looking, right? The Yankees are still looking. Well, the Red Sox just lost out on Bregman, and the Yankees could potentially be looking like they could be losing Cody Bellinger. So Bob Nightingale did tweet out, and again, I've said it a million times, not everybody has correct sources, and I know not every reporter, not every person who makes this type of content has actual sources. But let me just get back to that. Bob Nightingale, the Yankees and free agent Cody Bellinger stare down continues with 1 month before spring training. The Yankees have offered a 5-year contract between $155 to $160 million without deferrals. Bellinger is seeking at least a 7-year deal, and they bring up deferrals because a lot of guys have been getting that. Bregman, I believe, has like $70 million like spread out. Like it's a big number that's deferred, but he's got a lot of money deferred. And it seems like Bellinger isn't even getting deferred money. He's going to get it pretty much in the bulk of the contract. But there's a stare down. Bellinger wants a bigger contract. He wants 7 years. So who's in the market for Bellinger? Could he be a guy that goes to the Cubs? Apparently the Cubs are still spending money. I don't think so. I think the Cubs are probably done. We've heard the rumors of the Mets, because the Mets all of a sudden are back in the market, but apparently they only want to do short-term dollars. So I don't really know. Apparently the Diamondbacks have been dipping their toes in some of this. But again, Cody Bellinger could also be a guy that gets moved on from by the Yankees. So we'll have to keep that in mind. We're talking about different teams here that could be in the hunt for Tucker and Bichette and all these other guys. But I want to bring up the next tweet here. Jim Duquette saying, a league source confirmed to me that the 3 main teams involved in the Tucker negotiations are Toronto, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the New York Mets. And the Dodgers, I guess, could be in the market as well for Bellinger. They've all met with Tucker either in person or over Zoom as part of the recruiting process for a star player. Will be interesting to see if any of the 3 teams increase their offers soon to separate themselves from the other. Now, we've been kind of hearing that the Jays, I almost said the Leafs, the Jays and the Dodgers have been the most aggressive teams. But it's been kind of brought up now that the Mets are also one of the teams that could play spoiler or potentially land Kyle Tucker. And that brings me to the next tweet and the next little bit of information here. And this is Ken Rosenthal. Now, I think a lot of people have seen this quote tweet, and he didn't mention the Blue Jays as one of the big market teams looking for a bat. Obviously, they still could sign one of the top remaining free agents, but after getting Okamoto, I just don't view them being as needy as the other 5 teams I listed. Now, I believe if I'm correct, he listed the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Red Sox. Did I say the Yankees? Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Phillies, Red Sox. Anyways, basically he named a bunch of teams here, and the Blue Jays weren't one of the teams that were mentioned. But I want to bring up the fact that a few days ago, the Blue Jays were a team where Ken Rosenthal basically said, yeah, the Blue Jays are probably right now the favorites for Tucker. So a few days ago, this guy's saying, yeah, the Jays are favorites for Tucker. Now he's saying that we're not actually as needy and we're not one of the big teams. There's 2 things here. First of all, he either just doesn't want to admit that the Blue Jays could be one of the teams, which, I mean, for some reason, some reporters have that problem. But the other thing is that maybe he's actually saying that the Blue Jays are in there, but like they're not as like aggressive. So there is some concern there, but again, I don't know how realistic this is, because he literally just a few days ago was saying that the Blue Jays would be the favorite right now. And again, that doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And that also brings me to another thing here today. Jared Carabas, he's obviously a guy that talks a lot about the Boston Red Sox. He was saying he feels like the market is the Jays. He's waiting for the announcement of a 9-year deal for Kyle Tucker, but he also said if it was short term, he could see it being the Dodgers. So I think what I'm trying to bring up here, and I'll bring up this tweet as well, talking Yanks, Yankees have checked in on Kyle Tucker and Bichette per Jack Curry, yes. However, Curry believes other teams are more interested in those free agents. Curry also says the asking price for Nico Horner is very high, blah, blah, blah. This is not anything to do with Tucker, this last part, but he thinks other teams are more interested in those free agents, and those are like basically the top 2 names on the market right now, if you don't believe Bellinger is a top 2 name on the market. But if we're talking just the outfielders, but again, Tucker and Bichette are both targets of the Blue Jays, potentially. I think it's more Tucker at this point. But let's break down the teams, right? So we're talking Yankees here, no pun intended. The Yankees are trying to get Bellinger. The media is trying to play up, and I think Yankees media is probably trying to play up the fact that, oh, we're far apart, we might move on to other names. The Yankees want Bellinger back. They do, and they're going to probably make it happen. I think Bellinger is going to end up back with the Yankees. If not, I don't know where he's going to go. It could be the Mets, and that brings me to the Mets. I don't know. Apparently, they want to go short term. There's been rumors in and out that they're interested, they're not interested. They want to go short term, high AAV. Tucker might want long term, a lot more money. And I saw there was some ridiculous tweet earlier of somebody saying, oh, Tucker gets injury prone. Like if I was him, I would want a short term deal. No, that's not how it works. You want a long term deal if you're injury prone. So that way you have a bunch of guaranteed money coming in. You don't want to be after a 1-year contract, you have injury problems and now you have to go back onto the market. It doesn't make any sense. So I think the Mets are an interesting team here. The Yankees, I still think they're going to be trying to go after Bellinger. The Phillies, if they're going to be one of the big spenders, they're probably more in the market for Bichette. And again, like there's a bunch of teams, there's a bunch of people that could be like the Dodgers. They want to go short term with Tucker. It's a really weird market. And what I'm trying to tell you guys here is that while I am a Jays fan and I do believe that Kyle Tucker would be an awesome addition and that there's been a lot of talk that he would be the guy and that the Blue Jays are the favorites and they're in the lead and they can offer all this money, there was too much misinformation all over the place. There's too many people saying, oh, he's the favorite, this person's the favorite, that person's going to get him, the Jays are the favorites. No, they're not. They're not trying to get a bat. It's too all over the place. There's too many people guessing because a lot of this is guessing. A lot of people misquoting, a lot of people making stuff up. What we have to know now is that we don't know. We have no idea. The Jays might already be out. They might not even be in anymore. We don't even know that because you know who knows that? The Blue Jays front office. And I'm guaranteeing you right now that unless they've literally called his agent and said, we're out, nobody knows what's truly in or out. They could be cooking up a massive contract offer to him right now as I'm recording this. We don't know. So take everything with a grain of salt, and I've been saying this so much. That's why I wanted to fill you guys with so much random crap and info in this video, is because there's so much out there. There's so much to believe. There's so much not to believe. So I want you guys to give me your thoughts on all of this. What do you think? What are the connections? What big teams are going to spend? Who's going to go where? This is Andrew from Batting Sixth. I'll see you in the next video.